Finally, the keys in my hand. We're standing in front of what will soon be our newest storefront. It's very small, but it's in the center of downtown Phoenix. So we are at the intersection of 3rd Avenue and Roosevelt. It's a pretty cool part of town. There's actually more people that live in this 1 square mile than in any other zip code in the state. And there's also a lot of people that work down here every day. So much so that with every other downtown district's problems, finding a parking space down here can be a challenge. However, this is one of the most walkable parts of town with a beautiful, dedicated bike lane even on this particular street. So really love this location. And if you could believe it, this was actually supposed to always be our second location, not what it will become, which is our 4th. It's a big deal because we chose this strategically for its location and its very small footprint so that we could balance out our situation with big bakeries that cost a lot to operate with a high density, small storefront in the middle of a very busy district. But this building has had lots and lots of problems in its construction. It started in 2019 and the world was in a different place. Actually, just recently in the last couple months, the building finally came to a state of completion. And that's why I just received these keys. And so now it's in my control. We're taking these 2 units. They both have these really cool roll-up windows, which will lead to a sort of open air feel. There will be a nice dedicated set of outdoor patio space, which will seat probably around 12 people, and then more seating on the inside, as well as our back kitchen space. Currently, there's not a whole lot in there. This is, I guess, a before video. We're going to, now that we have keys, start moving in. So over the next few weeks, you'll definitely see some updates from us as we get this project going. And if you happen to be near this district in town, in downtown Phoenix, if this is going to become your neighborhood bakery, please check us out on our Instagram account for updates on when we might do some pop-ups prior to opening. So you can try our breads, get a feel for our brand before we ever open the doors. And if you've been shopping with us for a little while, maybe you come see us at the downtown Phoenix Farmers Market, or you used to come to the Phoenix Public Market. Those are less than a mile away in that direction. And now you'll be able to buy proof bread 7 days a week rather than waiting for that one market day. Between now and then, we still have a lot of work to do. It seems like there's not a whole lot going on because of the footprint, but there's always more than meets the eye when dealing with these kinds of build outs. We have a lot of things to do before we can open the store, but this is a huge milestone that we finally made. And I can't wait to start sharing bread from these locations. So without further ado, let's go into the door that you would go into if you were one of our customers. So basically our customer side, walk in here. So currently these 2 units are truly separated. There's a wall that separates the 2 of them, but that is not going to be a fact for much longer. This wall here is actually going to be the front counter where you walk up and are able to complete a purchase of bread and pastry. So it will all come down and it will be combined with that back unit. But generally, this whole unit that we're standing in will be devoted for customers. We'll have a cooler here as well as some shelving on the side that we can retail our sliced breads as well as our flour and other items from the flour mill. And then back here, we'll have quite a bit of customer seating, probably about 4 seats up at this bar, and then another 6 to 8 seats in this corner. So believe it or not, we will actually have more seating inside here by perhaps 1 or 2 seats than we currently do at our Shea Bakery. Crazy to think about that. And perhaps temporary, we're trying to add seating there as well. But there will be quite a bit of seating for people to enjoy and a pretty cool downtown landscape to look upon. Hopefully this will be a really fun place to come hang out while enjoying the nice smells of bread and pastry. We'll have a small beverage program here as well, a grab and go cooler with items in it. So it should be a really nice spot. And the landlords tell me that I'm trying to stuff 20 pounds of stuff into a 1 pound bag. That's true. We're really using this space in a lot of ways, so I think you'll be surprised when you see the final space take shape. Let's take a step over to the other side. So as I was thinking about this space years ago, before these sidewalks were laid and I had visited it, I didn't realize this would actually be a drainage area. And it kind of presented some design problems. We will end up having to fashion a metal bridge here for our customers to be able to get over to this side without any concerns. And this will basically be our kitchen side. So a second walk-up counter will be this window. And so from the street, people will actually be able to see bread and pastry in this window, bread behind on the wall, and our full pastry display in the window. It should be really, really nice. I'm gonna go ahead and open up our kitchen unit and tell you all that we're trying to jam pack in what is a really small space. So now we're on the other side, and in a few short weeks, we'll probably start our days opening up these windows. One of my construction challenges will be the air curtain that has to go over this space. There's not the greatest spots to mount such a device, so we're still working through those problems. But there will be a big pastry case here that is looking out to the main road, and the ability for customers to come up and perhaps just place their order right from the sidewalk. So it'll be both a walk-up location and a walk-in location. And here will be basically our entire bakery setup. What's interesting is this is only 100 square feet more than we use at farmers markets. And at our largest farmers market, this is the exact amount of square footage that we have. But at farmers markets, we don't have to do a bunch of things that we have to do here. For instance, our health department requires a million varieties of sinks. We have to have hand sinks and 3-compartment sinks and prep sinks. They all have to be present. Just sinks alone will take up a lot of the space that we have here, but we hope to carve out some space here for a beverage counter where we can make hot and cold beverages of various kinds, ice maker underneath. We will have our entire kind of back setup of various things we need, from the mop sink to the hand sink to the 3-compartment sink, all on this wall. And as we get closer in here, it will be mostly bread display. We will, hopefully, with any luck, be able to fashion an oven in this space sometime in the future so that we can bake off pizzas for lunch and even bake off cookies from this location, which can easily be transported here to bake. That will probably lead to more appealing smells in the space. Not that our whole wall of bread won't do that on its own. And behind this wall is that other suite. So this wall will come down, and if you're on this side, that means that you're serving customers here on this wall. There will be a pastry case on the left and a flat space from which we can transact on the other side. So much stuff that has to happen in this very small space. A lot of concerns. We expect that we'll probably sell a fair amount of bread out of here, but we need space for bags. We need space for all the inventory. We need space for the objects that we bring the bread on into this building. And so we'll have to work through all of those little details, which we've done a lot of planning around, but now is the real test of putting that planning into actual action. So we have our hands full over the next couple months trying to open this place. It's been a bit of a high level of anticipation as well as a high level of letdown for season after season after season, where we expected that this building would be ready for us to occupy by the next quarter, by the next quarter, by the next quarter. Actually, it's been, as a building, in the final stages of construction for quite some time. Really, in the last 2 years, you haven't seen a huge amount of changes. The last kind of 10% of the construction seemed to happen over the final few months, but the months leading up to that, and seemingly 2 years leading up to that, nothing seemed to be happening ever. And interestingly, it really did impact us in a big way because we made plans around this happening at a reasonable timeline. And when that timeline was no longer reasonable, well, as a business owner, we're always having to take some sort of a bet on the future. And if the bet doesn't quite go as planned, we then have to pivot around that. Well, there's only so much you can do to make up for what you expected in revenue. And we've done our best. We ended up with a bakery out in Litchfield Park that probably would have never occurred if this had been on time. And lucky for us that that bakery opportunity became a reality. When it did, we really needed the revenue we had banked on this to be open. But here we are, and this spring it's going to be a thing, and soon we'll be a part of this neighborhood every single day of the week. I can't wait to start our first pop-up events that will happen leading up to our grand opening. Follow us on our social media channels, sign up for our newsletter, be sure that you're the first to know when we do such a pop-up. Come try our bread here in downtown Phoenix. Look forward to having you here. It's easiest to score your loaves when they're cold. We eat with our eyes first.
You have to understand your audience enough to be able to say, like, I'm going to be charging a lot of money for my super crazy cool thing, or it's so cool and so creative that only you can do it, and then you don't stand a chance of scaling it.
Let's go over what it's like to build a bakery from one person to many.